is like a big release this summer. On the other side of it, you're gonna see things really, really differently. And in the meantime, it might feel totally cryptic and maybe even overwhelming. And the best thing you can do is just edit out all the stuff you don't need to read, don't need to learn, don't need to think about, don't need to be responsible for. Hone in on, and now I'm like hearing this serenity prayer, you know, like grant me the acceptance to accept what I can't change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's almost like anything that's out of your control this summer gets blacked out. Just really entrenched in and marinating in, like deep in yourself, just really, really, really in it. And you've been holding it in reserve, kind of chewing on it, waiting to kind of let it all spill out. And then it all comes out maybe in a way that was a little oopsie or a little unexpected or a little like, wow, I can't take that back. Don't fear that experience. Like, don't fear that happening. Go ahead and let it spill out is what this feels like, because that's when you get the treat, you know, like that's when the thing really arrives and you really get to hold it in your hand and experience it. I mean, don't you love that like radiant energy or this rebirth energy? It dies and then it's reborn. A reinvention. I asked and I received, or I wanted that and it showed itself to me. You know, the inspiration came in the painting. Yeah. What? What is this, Gemini? And whatever it is, it's sort of like a piece. I'm seeing this now suddenly as like one piece in a much larger wheel that is like developing this sort of one skill among many facets of your life that's like turning into this beautiful kaleidoscope. This is, whatever this is, whether it's a skill or a person or whatever it is that you've been sort of wishing for, is just one piece of a supported life, a kaleidoscope of a creative life experience. We have to allow things to sort of cycle through. Some things have to, we can't hoard, you know, like we do have to get rid of some things and allow some things to decompose, and that process of decomposition and growth is ever ongoing. It's not like this one big, you know, at least in this reading, it's not one big spring cleaning and then one big growth of abundance. It's, the beetles indicate a constant underlying process. So I'm wondering if there's something that will like increase, because Venus wants to increase your abundance in the things that bring value to your life and your experience. That's why she's often talked about as like the goddess of love and money, because these things are two of some of the most important things that humans can experience, is like that connection and love and heart connection with other people, and the sensual enjoyment that having abundance can bring. The intimacy seems to be the important thing here with Venus. How are you going about getting that? How are you going about satiating that? And is it actually satiating that for you? And if not, if there's still this kind of empty freaking hole, Leo, then maybe Venus is trying to get you to see that the underlying need beneath it is not being satiated. That need for intimacy is not being satiated by how you're currently going about satisfying that or trying to. And if you go deeper and you feel the tenderness of that need and that desire, you'll see that your tactic needs to shift. You know, you need to go about it in a different way if that's actually going to feel held. But just like the blackout poem helps to frame something really specific and clearly, so does the picture frame. And there's something in that that's like, when you're able to focus in, the picture clarifies in like a glaringly obvious way. And you can actually see it that way. You know, it's like the full brilliance of the sunset, but then when you frame it up in this specific way, it becomes a point of view. You know, it becomes a specific point of view, a specific piece of art. So you're needing to specify, to hone in, to find your specific point of view or skill set, or like, what do your hands do that other hands cannot do? Do that. And let other people do the other things. What is that shift? All dressing, no body behind it. And then shifting into like no outward dressings, but like full bodied. Okay, we're starting to get into something here, and it's asking you to like, I think, really fill in the gaps of something, you know, like you can't just sort of like dress it up and take it out and have it be a fully lived in thing. You have to actually like fill out those clothes, you know, like grow into them, which of course takes like time, energy, and investment. Wasn't your spring reading called Investing? Okay, Libra, we're continuing a story. I get it, I get it, I get it. There's something to be seen there, maybe about a shift in your spiritual ethos or your spiritual lens, shifting into a more like experiential, practical, allowing yourself to partake in the world type experience. So you don't have to be so detached. You can actually be like fully feeling the waves and the mist of the ocean and the crash and the sand and the grit and the mist and the air and the water and all of the elements, you know? And maybe there's this thing of like, you think you're already doing that, but then the Venus retrograde really shows you some sort of very big glaring thing that you needed to see about how like you're still sort of operating from behind stained glass. When that anxiety and intensity revs up, it's because maybe something really needs to change and you are practically bursting out of your skin. You know that thing that you do, like I've done this in my life many times, where I've like forced myself to stay in this particular shape that I've like really invested a lot of my emotional life into or whatever. It's like, well, I've invested so much in this, I need to stay in this, but I'm mutable as fuck, and like everything in me is bursting to grow into a different form, but I'm like, no, you have to be this shape because you said you were this shape, and everyone in your life is invested in you being in this shape. And it's like, if a snake, like, would a snake die if it refused to shed its skin? That is just at the beginning stages. And because there's like refinement to, you know, you can like emotionally commit to the permanence of something and get the go ahead inside of yourself to progress on that. And then there's like the progression of it, of actually like fine tuning and fixing and assembling the materials and stacking the layers over time, riding the time cycles, you know, the seasons, whatever that is. Interesting. But I think what this reading is recognizing is permanence. Like, oh, this is here to stay. I want to stay with this. I want this to stay with me. And that, yes, that acknowledgement progresses things forward to build the vision. I think there's this idea that you can't see where you're going when you do a back dive. It's like, I'm going into the complete unknown, or like I have no idea where this is gonna take me or where this is gonna lead. But then like with the support of someone there spotting you, like, it's okay, I got you. You can go ahead and do this like kind of scary, risky thing. You don't have to be able to see where you're going, I got you. And that gives you like a little bit more of a sense of security. And suddenly we see that the person can, you know, has a head on their shoulders again, even though they're still gonna do this bold move. Because they feel like they have a sense of security and support, they have a head on their shoulders, they can do it, you know? And then back to this, and again, it's something so emotional, so close to your heart, so tender. That's all he had to do to snap out of this, to solve this mystery, to wake up from this, is basically like a wish. I don't know, Pisces, this is a very cryptic one. I wish I had more definitive answers for you, but I think that's kind of the point of this reading, is that there's, again, like, you think you know, are you asking the right questions, and then soon, you know? So there is a little bit of comfort in the soon, of like, it will be clear to you, it will become clear for you. But first you might have to go through this process where you're just like, really questioning the universe and like questioning the forces unseen and going, what the hell is going on?